remember what you thought.
Well, call this one the Dark Knight Falls, people, as a computer glitch wipes out 440 million at Knight Capital. Let's talk to Agnes Crane. She's our Breaking Views columnist. Agnes, the stock is taking a beating today. Look at that nosedive, down over 50%.
I mean, I think as you would expect. I mean, again, we're talking about a coding error causing a $440 million loss. I mean, that is going to unnerve pretty much anyone. And I think right now what we're seeing for the company, right, is that they're scrambling to find cash to kind of to stay afloat.
Right. So let's just give this a little bit of a perspective. 90 million more than UBS lost on the Facebook IPO. More than 60% of its market value.
Exactly, and I think the other perspective is, you know, what this does overall to confidence, right? I mean, this is not happening in isolation, right? We had problems with the Facebook IPO. We had problems with BATS when it tried to do its own, you know, an exchange that tried to do an IPO that also had a snafu. And then we had the flash crash. I mean, this was a few years ago, but again, I think people still remember that of, you know, problems with infrastructure, problems with electronic trading, and so I think this is going to kind of feed that uncertainty.
Sure, and as you mentioned, scrambling for cash. A report out of Fox Business saying that they've approached J.P. Morgan, perhaps for some emergency funds.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here and talk about
the far more serious issue.
From Super Mario to Stupor Mario.
Yeah, I mean, this is coming. This is the European Central Bank met today and took no action. And again, this is coming after the Federal Reserve also took no action yesterday. And I think the markets were kind of geared up that they were going to do something extraordinary because Draghi had said we'll do whatever it takes to save the Eurozone.
And we have a little clip here, by the way. We just have to show.
Yeah.
Because now we hope it's not game over.
Yeah, no, I mean, we definitely hope it's not game over. And and again, and they're talking about like they're going to come up with a plan and that there probably will be some extraordinary measures. But I think what this is kind of showing is again again how tough this job is, even for the ECB, but to basically bring everybody together to try to come up with some kind of plan that is going to make a difference for the Eurozone.
All right, let's look at how stocks are reacting to this. Down, down, down. We've got red arrows everywhere. U.S. stock market. Yeah. And also in terms of the euro, more losses against the dollar.
And I think it's also, we should mention just yield on peripheral European debt also went up as a result. I mean, that is not a good sign.
Okay, so whatever it takes, not exactly
yet
playing out. Okay, Agnes Crane, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move and talk to Jeroen Marti. She's our Director of Consumer Research, and we're going to do a little roundup of retail sales. Let's talk about some winners right off the bat here.
Well, we had the Gap, Limited Brands, they smashed expectations, while Ross and TJX, they increased their earnings guidance for the second quarter.
Okay, so why the Gap is a surprise, right? Up almost 9% there.
They took a risk earlier this year, and it's finally paying off. After 2 years of negative same-store sales, they finally posted their strongest sale number.
What was their risk?
Well, they finally introduced some color into their pants, not just the khakis, and they've also partnered with Diane von Furstenberg, a high-end designer, which was very smart. It added some cachet to the retailer.
So the color jeans were a hit?
Yes, definitely a hit. And so what they did is they went out of their comfort zone. Now they're offering better mix, which is a little bit different than the usual khaki pants.
So as we said, in Zumiez and Ross stores, I thought it was just people like me who were looking for air conditioning in these hot months, but evidently it's more than that. They know what they're doing. Okay, let's get to the losers.
Yes. Some teen names in there. We saw Wet Seal, The Buckle, and also Rite Aid stores. But Wet Seal, they've had some very bad merchandise. Teenagers are shopping. They're fickle. They're just shopping elsewhere. They're going to the American Eagle. They're even going to Hot Topic for some of the Batman-related merchandise.
Right.
And also Nordstrom, who right now has their anniversary sale, which is a big hit.
That's interesting. Nordstrom pulling in the teens.
Yes, because moms like to go to a one-stop shop. They don't want to go all the way into the mall. If they go to the department store, they can get the shoes, the apparel, everything right there in one
They're
stop.
putting it together, those teens.
Yes.
Okay, now let's talk about another teen brand, Aeropostale, because they missed big, earnings out. Shares down 31% today.
Yes, they missed same-store sales expectations and they lowered guidance. Not good. Traffic there has been very weak because teenagers are going elsewhere. They're going to Old Navy, which is a direct competitor, has similar merchandise and similar price points.
Interesting. Okay, Jeroen Martis, thanks so much for your insight as always. Move on to the hot spot here. We're going to talk about some stocks that are moving. Yelp, you know it. You probably like it if you use it because they're up 23%. Those restaurant reviews, second quarter revenue up 67%. They say they've got a lot more advertisers, 5,000 more businesses advertising on Yelp. They're in about 90 markets. They say they can go into about 1,000 more at this point. Weight Watchers, either it costs too much money right now to lose weight, or we're eating more, as we're sort of singing the blues here, because while Applebee's and IHOP were up, as we talked about yesterday, Weight Watchers down 11%. And finally, First Solar. This is interesting because the solar panel industry has been down as a whole. We've talked a lot about that. First Solar, an American company, up 26% today, trimming its margins, and it happens to have the lowest price solar PV panels around. That's it today. Thanks so much for joining us in Trading at Noon. Remember, follow us on Twitter at Reuters Inside, and check out all the great shows on our Reuters YouTube channel. That's Reuters.com/Reuters TV. I'm Lisa Bernhard, and this is Reuters.